Today we'll be talking about the red team. What is the red team? I'm glad you asked. So within the community, you'll see a thread category called Agents on Autopilot. And I have a piece that I shared about orchestrating a 24/7 production. And within that, the first thing that I ever mention is the red team. So the red team, as coined by, I don't know if IBM coined them, but they're pretty much one of the big spokespeople about it. It's a cybersecurity practice that basically says use the data points and guardrails as much as you can to ensure success down the line. And there's a number of ways it does that. The red team specifically is a culmination of either people or systems, AI systems, that are rapidly testing, right? So testing edge cases, meaning like, what if this goes wrong? What if we did that, right? And then also seeing security-wise how it handles leaks, how it handles errors, how does it handle, confusion, hallucination, how does it essentially validate that? So within the program, I dive a bit deeper in terms of what this looks like specifically for your use case. But I wanted to put it here at the top to really illustrate that it's the baseline for trust. Anything that we have running rapidly, it's not a calculator. It's not some toaster you kind of pull and just plug in. Even the plug and play model with Fellow has its points where it can break. So because of that, in advance, what we've done is set these few different assets that really allow you to mitigate that. How we do that is by using these three assets that I kind of dive into a bit of depth here in terms of how to use them. They're also readily available today under the link hub. If you scroll down here, you'll see these asset labs as well as this workbench. So before you go ahead and actually start, cracking through these, it's best to kind of give you a high level about how they work and what they do. So a prompt chain, if you can imagine, if you're technical, you can kind of also understand where this comes from, is that when you do something in terms of a script, if you run that 100 times over, without a machine learning layer on top of that, that basically automatically evaluates and sees how well it's doing, which, by the way, that's what Kafka, these other tools as well, after Fellow, are doing. If you don't have the machine learning capability, then what you have are these pre-created assets, which you can also create yourself, that allow you to compress the time in terms of problem solving. So at prompt chains, if you prompt a series of language models 100 times over, you'll find the 10 best ways to get the result you need. This is crafted over time. This is curiosity over time, and it's crafted by hardworking specialists. And they often hold this close to their chest. Like I mentioned, those are the ones that I've used and are continually using and also being used in the program are all available in the link hub. And the same goes for all the other resources mentioned here. Workbench. Workbench is a GPT project of any stretch, right? So it can be Claude, Anthropic, doesn't matter what it is, OpenAI. It's a central location that holds all of the context for what we need to do. You will be provided workbenches that have this already. For you to store it is a cost, right? Because you have to pay essentially for a plus or a premium. Anywhere that you store, like any subscription really with a language model, I think the lowest one I've seen has been like $5. There's like $20 ones as well. They typically come with these workspaces that allow you to hold all the information in one spot, all the context. That's a prerequisite. Without that, AI will run off the rails and make assumptions. So we need to have a central location where it keeps all the information. The third asset are these cards. So the cards are a really interesting piece because this is more so from the educator standpoint and are currently non-existent on the free market. So I'm really excited to bring this in front of everybody. So within the link hub, you'll see three different cards. The first one is lab cards. So labs are kind of these checkpoints that exist within the program, right? These kind of workshops that test basically the guardrails in advance. Sounds simple. right? So there's the different paths and different ways that you can do it and use it, and labs exist with each one. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the programs themselves and see how these really show up. It does pretty much 70% of the thinking work, which is really great, and allows you to kind of just pick it up off the shelf. The agent cards work in a similar fashion, but these ones are more specific about the AI agents in terms of, having a full profile. It tells you when to use it, what it needs, how it behaves, what you must never do, and how you prove it works. So straight out of the gate, you have pretty much working AI agents that you can plug into any AI agent builder that you have and develop standard operating procedures that you can use as runbooks and really grow with the assets you have. That then brings us to the final asset, which is run cards. Second final, I'd say, getting into the workbench. Run cards allow you to understand what to do now, what needs to be logged, and where approvals happen. AI agents, if set up well, will create these themselves. They'll create logs that you can actually reference and read without it just being a giant console log, right? So this is kind of the middle step there that takes care of that and creates a presentation layer that you as a non-technical person can understand. So it just tells you what it did, essentially. Workbench. Workbenches, like I mentioned, are a project-based kind of spot. They work with system prompts as well as incorporating these logs and context. Setting this up is essential. I can't stress that enough. It takes 5 minutes, depending on what you have, right? Just creating a project and adding in these sheets from the roadmaps that you'll be able to just plug in and work with.